Mga ka-Serene, here's another confession letter na natanggap ko. Listen up, this one's coming from a listener na may interesting na kwento. Kung ikaw to, baka ma-recognize mo ang sarili mo, kaya't let's go. Here's the letter. Dear DJ Serene, magandang araw sa inyong tagapakinig. Ako nga pala si Martin, isang call center agent. Gusto ko lang sanang mag-share ng isang kwento. Gusto ko lang simulan sa pagsasabi na medyo magulo ang buhay ko. Parang lahat ng decisions ko, naging ganon, magulo. Hindi ko alam kung saan ako patungo, pero siguro, kaya ako nagsishare ng kwento ko sa'yo is because I want to understand how things went down the way they did. Parang, sana mapaliwanagan. Minsan kasi mga desisyon ko parang walang direksyon. Minsan pinipilit ko lang mag-enjoy at maging chill. Alam mo yon, yung enjoy lang sa buhay, pero nasanay na akong hindi iniisip ang consequences. Basta sa ngayon, enjoy lang. One night, I was out with some friends. Feeling ko, after a long week of work sa call center, I deserved it. So, I went out and headed to this bar along Quezon Avenue. Tiyak alam mo yun, yung lugar na parang may pagka-vibe, kung saan madalas mag-party yung mga tao. I was expecting the usual. Good drinks, good music, and good vibes. Pero nung pumasok ako, may nakita akong babaeng kakaiba. She was standing by the bar, looking fierce and confident. Tapos, ang ganda pa ng suot niyang red lipstick. Alam mo, yun, yung tipong hindi mo kayang hindi mapansin. At first, akala ko hindi siya yung type ng tao na makakausap ko. Parang she was way out of my league. Pero may something sa kanya na nagpapaintriga sa akin. Minsan lang ako maglakas loob na lumapit sa mga ganong babae, pero that night I just went for it. Parang bigla na lang, I walked up to her and said, "Uy, baka pwede sagot ko na isang shot. Kasi parang ang saya mo mag-party, baka pwede maki-join." Siyempre, hindi ko in-expect na tatawanan lang ako or hindi siya mag-react. Pero bigla siyang tumingin sa akin with this wild, bold look. And then, with a smile, she handed me a drink. It was like a dare na hindi ko alam kung paano tatanggapin. And you know what? I drank it. At that point, it felt like something shifted. We started talking, and it was fun. Super chill lang, walang pressure. Her energy was infectious. Nasa wave kami pareho, yung tipong hindi na namin iniisip kung ano ang susunod. We were just in the moment. And when she laughed, I couldn't help but get more drawn to her. Her laugh was different. It was carefree. The way she carried herself, parang walang worries in the world. By the end of the night, we were both tipsy, but there was something about her na hindi ko kayang i-ignore. She wasn't just some girl at the bar. She was unforgettable. Hindi ko naman sinasadya, but I found myself saying, "Wanna leave this place and see where the night goes?" We left the bar together, walang mga tanong, walang expectations, kung saan na lang kami dadalhin. We ended up at a Sogo hotel, and yeah, that's where things got wild. At nang makarating na kami sa hotel, dito na nagsimula ang mainit at wild. Nagabi para sa aming dalawa. We started kissing each other, go down and go up. Habang nagkikis-kisa ng aming mga katawan, ramdam ko ang init at mabilis na tibok ng puso namin dalawa. After that, dito na naganap ang mas mainit na gabi. So, DJ, Serene, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I'm confused. Hindi ko alam kung anong nangyari, kung saan kami patungo, or kung may ibig sabihin ba yung gabi na yon. DJ Serene, paggising ko, ang una kong naisip, ano na nangyari? Ang ulo ko parang umiikot. Hindi ko alam kung dahil ba sa alak o dahil sa lahat ng nangyari nung gabi. Hindi ko sure kung anong klaseng connection ang meron kami, or kung naging ganun lang ba ang lahat dahil sa kalasingan. Nung tinignan ko siya, nakahiga siya sa tabi ko, buhok niya nakakalat sa unan. Para akong nakatulala, kasi parang isang panaginip lang. Pero kahit ganun, parang may kaba sa dibdib ko. Pwede bang ganun na lang? Hindi ko alam kung anong kasunod. Nung umangat ako, narinig ko siya. Martin, ang boses niya, malambing pa rin kahit medyo inaantok. Hindi ko alam kung paano magsimula, kaya ang ginawa ko, tumahimik lang ako at inisip na baka siya rin naguguluhan. Pero sabi niya ulit, "Are you okay?" Nang tiningnan ko siya, parang walang luhang nakatagilid na tawa ang nakangiti siya. Hindi siya mukhang natatakot or awkward. It was like she was totally in control, like this was no big deal for her. "I'm fine," sabi ko na lang, kahit na hindi ko alam kung anong ibig sabihin nun. Tumingin siya sa akin at nag-smile. "Let's just enjoy it. Huwag mong pag-isipan." Habang nagsasalita siya, nararamdaman ko na parang nagkakaroon kami ng unspoken connection. Parang may kuryente sa pagitan namin. Para bang bigla siyang lumapit at hinalikan ako. Ang kiss niya, hindi yung tipong malambing lang. This one felt urgent, and I couldn't stop it. Ang mga kamay niya gumagalaw sa katawan ko. I couldn't help myself. Sobrang init ng mga halik niya, at it felt like everything was moving in slow motion. Pero it was so intense. Parang hindi ko na kayang pigilan pa. Hindi ko na naisip kung anong mangyayari. I didn't care if it was wrong or right. I was just caught up in the moment. And when she kissed me harder, I just followed her lead. That night, that morning, felt like a whirlwind. After that, wala nang words. The feelings were just raw. Sa bawat galaw namin, parang I was lost in her and she in me. I could feel the tension in the air. But it was exciting, and there was a part of me na gusto ko pa ito. Gusto ko lang magpa-follow, magpadala sa nararamdaman ko. Nung matapos kami, and the room went silent, I had this rush of thoughts. Parang, am I okay with what just happened? Is this just one of those wild nights, or was there something more? Hindi ko alam. Tumingin lang ako sa kanya, naghihintay ng sagot, pero hindi ko nahanap kung may kasunod pa. DJ Serene, after that morning, I didn't know what to expect. Nasa isip ko, baka hindi na kami magkausap after what happened. I mean, hindi naman kami nagplano na maging something more, right? Hindi ko nga alam kung anong klaseng yos kami. Was she just a one-night thing? Or was there something else I wasn't seeing? But then, the day after that wild night, she messaged me. Hindi ako makapaniwala at first. Tinanong ko pa sarili ko kung ako ba talaga yung tinutukoy niya. "Hey Martin, are you free tonight?" I stared at my phone for a while. Parang nagdadalawang isip kung sasagutin ko ba siya. I didn't know if I should keep it casual or if I should start treating this differently. But I couldn't deny it. Something about her was making me want more. I replied, "Yeah, I'm free. What's up?" Sabi niya, "Wanna meet up? I know a place. I'll show you." It wasn't like before. This time we both knew what was coming. She wasn't just asking to meet up for the sake of it. There was something behind it. And I was curious. I didn't want to miss out on the chance to see what was behind those eyes, the kind that seemed to hold a secret. We met at a small, quiet cafe. When she walked in, she was still wearing that red lipstick, but this time she wasn't as bold. She had a soft smile on her face, and her eyes were different. Maybe it was the way she looked at me. There was something deeper there. Something more serious than just a night of fun. I sat down, trying to be cool, but I could feel the tension. Hindi ko alam kung ano ang nararamdaman ko. Parang may halong excitement at kaba. She was more than just the girl in red lipstick now. She was someone I was starting to get curious about. "Hey," she said, her voice now softer, more genuine. "How have you been?" Sabi ko. "Okay lang. You?" "Same," she replied, but I could see that she was thinking about something. Her eyes were distant for a moment, like she was searching for the right words. And then, she looked at me with that same intensity. I just wanted to say that last night, it meant something. I froze. Hindi ko alam kung anong ibig niyang sabihin. It was unexpected. Did she really feel that way? Or was she just saying that to make things less awkward? I didn't expect that, to be honest, she continued. It was different. I'm not usually like that. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. "What do you mean?" She smiled, but it wasn't a playful smile this time. I mean, I don't usually open up to people like that. I'm not the kind to just let things happen. But with you, I don't know. There's something about you. I couldn't help but feel my heart race. Maybe there was something more to this than I thought. I wanted to ask her what she meant, but before I could, she reached out and touched my hand. It was a simple gesture, but it felt like everything had just shifted. "I like you, Martin. I didn't think I would, but I do." I wasn't sure what to say. I didn't know if I should say I liked her too, or if I should keep my guard up. But at that moment, I realized that it didn't matter. I was feeling something, and I didn't want to ignore it. "I like you too," I said, my voice a little shaky. We both smiled. There it was, the unspoken truth. The night we shared wasn't just about the fun or the lust. It was about something deeper that we hadn't figured out yet. But we both felt it. I could see it in her eyes, the same way she looked at me when we first met. And at that moment, I knew there was no turning back. We spent the rest of the afternoon talking about everything and nothing. Ang saya ko lang kasi parang I was seeing her for the first time. Pero mas may depth. It felt natural. It wasn't forced. That night, after we said goodbye, I kept replaying everything in my head. The way she looked at me, the way her voice softened when she said she liked me. Parang ang dami niyang tinatago, but in a way, I wanted to get to know more. I wanted to know what made her tick. What was behind the boldness, the wildness, the red lipstick. The next days were a blur. We started texting more often. She'd send me random messages just checking up on me or asking how my day went. The more we talked, the more I realized that there was something special about her. She wasn't just the party girl I met that night. She was someone who had layers. And I was beginning to want to peel them back, little by little. We were still figuring things out. Hindi ko pa rin alam kung anong exactly ang meron kami, but I could feel it. A spark. Something between us that neither of us could ignore. I was starting to think that maybe, just maybe, she wasn't just a one-night stand. After all, DJ Serene, I never thought I'd be this attached to her. When we first met, I told myself that this was just a one-time thing. Yung tipong party girl meets call center guy. Tapos magkasama lang kami ng gabing iyon. Pero after that day at the cafe, I realized na iba siya. And I'm not just talking about the physical attraction. It was something deeper. We'd been texting every day, and every time I saw her name pop up on my phone, my heart would race, even just a little. Hindi ko alam kung anong nangyayari sa akin kasi usually, I don't get caught up in feelings. But with her, I didn't know how to explain it. Hindi ko alam kung paano magbabalik sa kanya yung mga moments na parang ang saya-saya namin. When we'd meet up, parang every little thing about her intrigued me. The way she laughed, the way she looked at me when we were in the middle of a conversation, every detail felt significant. I didn't want to push her. Ayokong i-pressure siya kasi I could tell that she wasn't the type to rush into things. After everything that happened, I didn't want to ruin what we had by making it something too serious, too fast. But then, one night, we were hanging out at the same bar where we first met. Everything felt like it was falling into place, just like before, but with a deeper connection. I was sitting across from her, watching her sip her drink. "So," she started, her eyes glinting as she looked up at me. "How have you been?" "Same old," I said, trying to act casual, though inside I was bursting with thoughts I didn't know how to say out loud. She smiled and leaned in a little, a mischievous glint in her eyes. "I'm starting to think you're hiding something. You're not the carefree party guy you were that night." I froze. How did she know? I wasn't sure how to respond. Was I being too obvious? Did she feel the shift in me too? "I'm not hiding anything," I said, even though I felt like I was lying. The truth was, I was starting to care about her. I didn't know when it happened, but I could feel myself falling for her. Piece by piece. She raised an eyebrow. "Okay, but just so you know, I'm not looking for a forever yet." I nodded, feeling a little relieved that she wasn't rushing me, but at the same time, something inside me twisted. I knew she wasn't ready for something serious, and that scared me a little. What if I was too late? What if we were just drifting along and I couldn't catch up? We spent the rest of the night in silence, not awkward, but with this unspoken tension between us. It wasn't uncomfortable. It was like we were both trying to figure out what to do with what we had. And when we left the bar, we didn't talk much on the way home. But when we reached the hotel where she was staying, I kissed her goodbye. It was a long kiss, deep and tender. A kiss that said more than words could ever express. The moment I left her room that night, I felt a weird feeling in my chest, something I wasn't used to. Hindi ko alam kung yun ba ang tinatawag na falling in love, or if I was just getting too attached to someone I barely knew. But there was no denying it. Something was changing in me, and I wasn't sure if I was ready to face it. I didn't know how much longer I could keep pretending that everything was fine, that I was okay with just hanging out with her, no strings attached, that I didn't care about her as much as I actually did. But the truth was, it was getting harder to ignore. Every time I saw her, every time she smiled at me, something inside me just clicked. Hindi ko na kayang itago pa. I was falling for her. I think it was the night of our second date that everything hit me. We were walking along the streets of Quezon City, the same place where we first met. We didn't really have a destination. We just wanted to talk, to be together without the noise of a party or a bar. I was looking at her, watching the way the streetlights reflected on her face, when she suddenly stopped walking. "Martin," she said, her voice quiet. "Can I ask you something?" I stopped too, my heart suddenly racing. "Yeah, of course, what's up?" She hesitated, like she was searching for the right words. When she finally looked at me, her eyes were serious, almost vulnerable. "I know we've been having fun, but I need to know where you stand." I felt a lump form in my throat. I wasn't sure if I was ready for this conversation. I wasn't sure if I was ready to open up about how much I was starting to care for her. But it felt like I didn't have a choice. I had to be honest, or else it was all going to fall apart. I started, but the words got stuck. I took a deep breath. "I like you, I really do, and it's more than just fun for me. I can't pretend like it's just a fling anymore." She looked at me, her expression unreadable, and for a moment it felt like the world had stopped. Hindi ko alam kung anong sasabihin niya, kung tatanggapin niya ba o kung aalisin niya yung sarili niya sa buhay ko. I saw her bite her lip, thinking. I hated how long it took for her to answer, but I also understood. She wasn't like me. She wasn't the type to just fall for someone easily. I knew she had a guard up, and I didn't want to push her. But I couldn't keep pretending. "Not ready for something serious," she finally said, her voice steady but gentle. "But I like you too, Martin. And I'm not saying I never will be. I just need time." My heart sank a little, but I nodded. I understood. I wasn't sure what I expected, but hearing her say that, it was like a weight lifted off my chest. I didn't want to rush her. I didn't want to make her feel pressured. We both knew that if we were going to make this work, we needed time. We needed to let things grow, not force them. "I'm not rushing you," I said quietly, stepping closer to her. "I just need you to know that I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere." She smiled, her eyes softening. "Thank you, Martin." And in that moment, it felt like everything was perfect. We didn't need to have all the answers right then and there. We didn't need to define what we were. We just needed to be. To let things unfold on their own. We didn't talk much more after that, but we didn't need to. Our silence said everything. We were in this together, and no matter where it would go, we were both willing to take the ride. The next few weeks were a mix of excitement and uncertainty. We spent more time together, going on small adventures, laughing at inside jokes, talking about everything under the sun. But there were still moments where I'd catch myself wondering if she was feeling the same way I was. I wasn't sure if she was holding back because of her own fears or because she just didn't feel as strongly. But I couldn't ask. I couldn't push her. And then, one night, she told me something that changed everything. "I think I'm starting to like you more than I thought I would." My heart skipped a beat. "More than you thought?" She nodded. "Yeah. I didn't think I could get attached to anyone this fast, but with you, I'm starting to feel something real." I didn't know whether to smile, laugh, or just hold her close. But what I did know was that I was finally hearing what I needed to hear. She wasn't afraid anymore. And neither was I. I thought I was ready. I thought I had everything figured out. Pero as the days passed, I realized that I was just kidding myself. I couldn't keep pretending like I was okay with where we were, stuck in this gray area, neither here nor there. And maybe that was on me. Siguro nga, hindi ko siya binigyan ng space na mag-decide ng sarili niya kasi I was too caught up in my own feelings. I never expected that things would move this fast. I thought this would be just another party, another one-night stand that would end without any strings attached. But now, here I was, feeling things for a girl I barely knew. Yet everything about her felt like I was discovering a new world. DJ Serene, hindi ko alam kung anong nangyayari, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized I couldn't live in this limbo. I couldn't keep wondering if she felt the same way. And maybe it wasn't her that was keeping me at a distance. It was me. I was scared. Scared of being hurt. Scared of being too vulnerable. And I was afraid to admit that I was falling for her. Maybe even falling too hard. I had to make a choice. Kasi parang wala na akong ibang option, kundi gawin iyon. It was a Saturday night when I finally decided to confront everything. Nasa bar kami, like the usual setup. The difference now was that I wasn't here to just have fun. I needed answers. She was sitting across from me, nursing her drink, looking as beautiful as ever. But there was something different about her tonight. There was a distance between us that wasn't there before, and it made my chest tighten, kasi alam ko na she was probably feeling the same thing. Hey, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Can we talk? She looked up at me, those familiar eyes of hers searching mine. Of course. What's up? I took a deep breath, trying to get the words right. I've been thinking about us a lot lately, and I think it's time we talk about where this is going. She tilted her head, her expression neutral. What do you mean? I rubbed the back of my neck, trying to gather my thoughts. Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is, I don't want to keep waiting around to see if you're going to feel the same way. Kasi I'm already feeling something for you. Hindi ko na kayang itago. And I don't know if you're ready for it. But I need to know if this is something we're both willing to work on. I could see her pause, like she was processing everything I said. It wasn't the answer I was expecting. She didn't jump into my arms or smile brightly, like she usually did when we were having fun. Instead, she took another sip of her drink and leaned back in her chair. I didn't think we were at that point yet, she said slowly, almost like she was thinking out loud. I'm not sure if I'm ready for anything serious, but I also don't want to lose what we have. My heart sank at her words, but I had to push through. I'm not asking you to commit right now. What I'm asking is, do you feel the same way I do? Kasi I'm not gonna keep doing this if you don't feel the same way. I'm all in with you, but I can't keep guessing if you're just playing along. She was silent for a moment, and I saw her eyes flicker with uncertainty. I couldn't blame her. I knew it wasn't easy. I could tell she was thinking, really, thinking about what to say next. Martin, she finally spoke, her voice quieter now. I've been scared. Scared of getting hurt, scared of getting too close to someone and then losing them. That's why I've been holding back. But hearing you say that, she paused again, her lips curling into a small smile. I guess I just needed to hear you say it. I felt a wave of relief wash over me. I didn't know what was going to happen next, but just hearing that made everything feel more real. She wasn't shutting me out. She wasn't turning me away. She was just as scared as I was. "I like you, Martin," she continued, her eyes locked onto mine. "And I'm willing to take a chance. Pero we have to take it slow. Hindi ko kaya kung mabilisan lahat ng bagay. I don't want to rush it." I nodded, my heart finally at ease. "I'm okay with that. I just want to be with you, in whatever way that works for us." And just like that, it felt like everything fell into place. We weren't rushing into anything, but we were finally on the same page. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. I don't know how to explain it, pero parang may mga bagay na unti-unting nagbabago sa aming dalawa. Hindi naman ganun ka-drastic, pero ramdam ko na may shift sa pagitan namin. Yung connection namin, hindi nakatulad ng dati. It's more than just the fun, more than the laughs. It's deeper. I've started to see her differently. Hindi ko alam kung siya ba ang nagbago or ako, pero parang lahat ng galak at saya na nararamdaman ko sa kanya, napapalitan na ng kabuntot na takot. Takot na baka magbago siya, o baka hindi niya na ako kayang mahalin ng tulad ng pagmamahal ko sa kanya. I'm scared that this thing we have might not last. I'm scared na baka maging just another one-night stand lang kami sa huli. But at the same time, I can't let her go. Hindi ko kayang mawalan siya. And I realize now na I'm more invested than I've ever been in anything else. I never thought I'd be this way. We still go out, still spend time together, but it's starting to feel like there's a gap that I can't bridge. Hindi ko alam kung sa kanya o sa akin galing yun, pero I can feel it. She's distant. I don't know if it's because she's afraid, or maybe she's not as into me as I thought. The other night, I took her out for dinner. It was supposed to be just a casual thing. She was a little quieter than usual, and I couldn't help but feel the tension between us. Parang may mga hindi nasasabing bagay na hangin na lang ang humahaplos sa mga katawan namin. So, I started trying to break the silence. "How's work? Still as crazy as ever?" She smiled a little, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Yeah, same old. You know how it is." I tried to laugh it off, but something inside me twisted. I didn't want to admit it, but I was afraid. Afraid na baka this is how it was going to end. Something that started out so good, pero ngayon parang nawawala na ang spark. When the dinner ended, we took a walk along the park near the restaurant. It was a beautiful night. Hindi naman sobrang malamig, but the breeze felt nice, refreshing. But even then, hindi ko pa rin maiwasang mag-isip. "Kumusta ka naman?" I asked her, not really knowing what I was hoping to hear. "You look tired." She stopped walking and turned to face me. "I'm okay. Really." I took a step closer, my heart pounding in my chest. I needed to know what was really going on. "Are you sure? Kasi it feels like, I don't know, parang may something na hindi mo sinasabi. Is it me?" She blinked, surprised at the question. "What do you mean?" I swallowed hard. "I don't know. It just feels like you're pulling away from me, and I don't know why. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. I don't want to lose you." I saw her eyes soften. For a moment. And for a second, I thought I saw a flicker of guilt in her gaze. But then, it was gone. She took a deep breath and looked away. "I don't want to lose you either, she said quietly. But I'm scared, Martin. Scared. Of what? I asked, my voice shaky now. I'm scared of getting too attached. Scared of what will happen if I let myself care too much. Kasi hindi ko alam kung kaya ko nang magbigay ng buong buo, and I don't want to hurt you in the process. The words hit me harder than I expected. Kasi sa lahat ng mga iniisip ko, hindi ko inasahan na iyon pala ang dahilan. She wasn't pulling away because of me, but because she was afraid to love again. Afraid of the same thing I was afraid of. Getting hurt. I reached out and took her hand in mine. I'm scared too, I said softly. But I'm willing to take that risk if you are. She looked at me, uncertainty clouding her eyes. But I could see something shifting, something that told me she wasn't ready to walk away, even if she didn't know where this was going. I don't know what will happen, Martin, she whispered. But I'm willing to try. I felt my heart leap. That's all I'm asking for. And in that moment, I knew that we both had our fears, but we were willing to face them together. We've come a long way, and I've learned so much about her, about myself. Sa mga linggong nagdaan, everything feels like it's starting to make sense, even if it's still a little messy. Siguro hindi pa kami perfecto, pero kung may isang bagay na natutunan ko sa buong experience na ito, it's that real love doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be true. After that night in the park, things between us started to settle. Hindi pa kami 100% sure kung anong direksyon kami papunta, pero at least we were finally being real with each other. Hindi na namin tinatago ang nararamdaman namin. We started talking more openly about our fears, our past, and what we really wanted. It felt like we were finally seeing each other for who we truly were. Imperfect, but willing to take a chance. I think it was the night we stayed up talking about everything, about our childhoods, our dreams, and the stuff we'd been too scared to share before, that everything clicked. I was sitting there, just listening to her, and I realized how much I wanted her to be a part of my life. Hindi ko na kayang mawala siya. Martin, she said quietly as we sat on my couch that night, I think I'm ready now, ready to give us a real chance. I turned to look at her, unsure if I heard her right. What do you mean? She took a deep breath, as if gathering the courage to say the words. I mean, I'm ready to stop holding back. I'm ready to take the leap with you. And just like that, everything felt lighter. Hindi ko na kailangang mag-alala kung maiiwan ko siya. Hindi ko na kailangang magtago ng nararamdaman ko. We were both ready to face whatever came next together. It wasn't going to be easy, I knew that. There would still be doubts and fears to deal with. But we had already taken the hardest step, admitting to each other that we wanted to try, that we were willing to take a chance. After that night, everything felt different. We didn't rush into anything, but we were no longer holding back either. We spent more time together, doing simple things like watching movies or walking around the mall, just enjoying each other's company without overthinking. I started to realize that love wasn't about grand gestures or moments of perfection. It was about those little things, the quiet moments, the shared laughs, and the way she'd smile at me when no one else was watching. Those were the moments that meant everything to me. We didn't need to define everything right away. We didn't need to force ourselves into a box. All we needed was to be there for each other, to support each other's dreams, and to be honest about how we felt. That was enough for me. One night, as we sat on my balcony, watching the city lights flicker below us, she turned to me and said something that made my heart skip a beat. "You know, Martin," she said softly, "I'm really glad I gave this a chance. I'm glad I took the risk." I smiled, feeling my heart swell with happiness. Me too. I wouldn't change anything. And for the first time, I truly felt like we were on the same page. Hindi ko na kailangang mag-alala kung anong mangyayari sa amin. All I knew was that I didn't want to lose her, and I was willing to fight for us. We've made it this far. Ang daming nangyari, pero dito na kami, at sigurado na ako sa nararamdaman ko. Hindi ko na kailangang magtaka o mag-alinlangan kung anong klaseng relasyon meron kami. I know I love her, and I know she feels the same way. Ang mga takot na naramdaman ko nung una, unti-unting nawawala. Hindi ko na iniisip kung anong mangyayari next. Kasi, masaya na ako sa kung anong meron kami ngayon. Every moment with her feels like something worth holding on to. Ngayon, tuwing magkasama kami, it feels like everything is just right. Wala nang pag-aalinlangan. Wala nang worries. Parang bawat araw na kasama ko siya, pinapakita niya sa akin kung gaano siya ka-unique, kung gaano siya ka-special sa akin. Lahat ng imperfections niya, tinatanggap ko. At siya rin, tinatanggap niya ako. And that's what makes this real. One weekend, we decided to go to the beach. Just the two of us. Hindi naman kami magarbong maglakad sa mga resort or anything. Kami lang naglalakad sa buhangin, tahimik at puro tawa. We didn't need a fancy trip to enjoy each other's company. Ang kailangan lang namin ay ang presensya ng isa't isa. That afternoon, habang nakaupo kami sa ilalim ng isang malaking puno, hinihintay ang pagsikat ng araw, she looked at me, her eyes sparkling like the ocean waves. "Alam mo," she said, "I never thought I'd be this happy. I thought I was just going to be okay, but with you, I'm more than okay. I'm actually happy." I could feel my heart racing as I stared at her words echoing in my head. She was serious. She was real. "I'm glad," I whispered, "because I feel the same way. I didn't think I'd get here either. Pero, now that I'm with you, I can't imagine my life without you." We sat in silence for a while, the sound of the waves crashing in the background. Ang init ng araw, pero hindi ko nararamdaman. Dahil sa init ng pagmamahal na nararamdaman ko sa kanya. I wanted to hold on to that moment forever. Then, she turned. To me, her face closer than usual. "Martin," she whispered, "I'm really glad we met. Hindi ko alam kung anong buhay ko ngayon kung hindi kita nakilala." My heart fluttered in my chest. I smiled, taking her hand and squeezing it gently. "You're the best thing that's ever happened to me." And just like that, she leaned in and kissed me. It wasn't just a kiss. It was a kiss that meant everything we'd been through. The late nights, the talks, the fears, and all the moments we shared that had brought us closer. It was the kiss that sealed the promise that we'd be there for each other, no matter what. Thank you for joining me, mga ka-Serene, on this journey with Martin and his girl in red lipstick. I hope their story reminded you that real love is about acceptance, growth, and taking chances.